Hey everybody, thank you for joining in. We just wanted to come in here and tell you that on Friday, November the 27th, uh, Joe Kasabian over at Lions Led by Donkeys is going to be doing a 12-hour stream on his Twitch charity stream. It's going to be going from 11 to 11 Eastern Standard Time, and that is for refugees of the Armenian-Azerbaijani war that just happened. So jump on in. Joe's going to be streaming 12 hours straight. I'm going to be jumping in with them. We're going to do a live podcast with Carrie Shockey as well. So don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of What a Hell of a Way to Die. It is me, it is Nate. Nate, how are things? Everything is getting darker and darker. Things are getting sadder and sadder, but we still have each other. We still have one another. Hell Island is going into the darkness. I saw your wife talking about that, but also I remember that sometimes in the summer you guys have sunlight until 10 o'clock at night. So how are you mentally doing, buddy?
Oh wow! I mean, I'm all right. I've been making myself get out. We'll go for walks. I went for a run yesterday. I've actually run a little bit lately, and cycling. Like we had to move studios because we got evicted with 3 days notice. It wasn't anything we did wrong. It was more that we knew that the business that ran the co-work space, they were just kind of bad at things. Like bad at record keeping, bad at invoicing, bad at being landlords, which is such a hard thing to envision, especially in a country run by and for landlords. But we got notice on Tuesday afternoon that there was a possibility that we would lose access to the building on Friday. This was 2 weeks ago, I think, thereabouts, and so we had to have a new space. Because they have those internet connected locks, a thing that we've talked a lot about on Trash Future, have joked about. And the internet was going to get cut off because the internet provider were about to get notice from the liquidators that the business was not going to pay its debts, and thus they would not be getting compensated for however many months they had not gotten paid for internet. And so if the internet went off, well, then the doors couldn't open. So we had to run, hustle through and find a new place, get a van, move shit, get moved in, get internet set up there, get everything situated, basically rebuild the studio and be ready to record. And so we did that. We were done. I went in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that week and handled shit. We got this new place. We've got it set up. And weirdly, I didn't feel completely emotionally, mentally, physically destroyed the way that I normally would after that kind of a thing. And I don't know what it was, but I was just sort of like, it kind of shook me out of the like permanent lockdown funk that we've sort of been in, because I mean, I'm obviously in a really privileged position that I can basically work from home unless I absolutely need to do a recording on location. Cynthia can work from home. And so, other than going and getting groceries, which in the UK, grocery delivery is super common. So the only times I've really had to go get groceries are when like the slots are so booked up that we can't. But getting out and doing shit has sort of made me feel a little better, but it's just more like the sun is on Friday. We will begin the period when the sun sets before 4 p.m. And there's just no way to get around how much that slows you down in every capacity. But yesterday I went running. I posted this on Instagram for those of you who follow me. I went running and I finished my run, and I walked up this hill in the middle of Burgess Park, which is a large park in South London I live pretty close to. And I got to see the sun setting. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I was just sort of like, this place is incredible. It's just you have to force yourself to get outside. Because I'm telling you, man, with like last 30 minutes of sunlight of the daytime, going for a run around the lake, just like slanted autumn light, trees, leaves falling, birds everywhere, people everywhere. I was like, this is so incredibly beautiful. This place rules. But those moments are very fleeting. I mean, like today is solidly gray sky with not even the slightest bit of variation.
and the sun is going to set in. Well, we're recording. It's a little after 12:30 p.m. here. The sun is absolutely going to set in 4 hours. Like it will be dark. It'll be pitch black dark in 4 hours. So I'm doing okay. I'm living, but this is just. I was joking with Cynthia the other day. Sorry to monologue here, but I was like, well, it's only 3 more weeks, or rather a month, 30 days before the days start getting longer again. And then I realized, I'm like, but that's not really any consolation to be like, well, it's only a month until things start getting worse, and then another month after that before things are back to sucking just as bad as they are now. It's just like sweet British optimism.
We're going to get back to our normal levels of shit soon. Don't worry. The levels of shit that you're used to. Well, you got to get out. You got to break up your routine. We're going through. I kind of go through that, but like I've worked from home for so long. Like I've worked at home for 5 years at this point that I already have it down how to break up my day. Like it used to bother me. Like I never went anywhere. My wife did all the shopping. She would go, grocery shopping. She'd take the kid out and everything. So I was always at home. I walk the dog. Like now in the new house, since we don't have a fenced-in backyard, I have to walk her 3 times a day. So that gets me outside. And I started, I've been running, on and off. I try to run like at least twice a week. And it's nice today, so I'm going to get off early because we got the holiday coming up. So if you're in a rut out there, find a way to vary your schedule a little bit, because sometimes, like you said, you having to do that just threw you into a flurry of like whatever you were doing for those days. Now you're doing this, and then like it just kind of snaps you out of your routine. And you're like, oh, I can do other things. Like maybe I can go for a walk, or maybe I can go for a run or something. Like obviously, I'm not trying to It's a very depressing time to be living in, but a little variation helps out. At least that I've noticed.
Yeah, that's been my experience too. That after having that and after feeling pretty good, despite I was worn out, but like I felt like I had accomplished something. The next week, I just made it a point. I went to the studio twice to get some work done. So that's like about 7-mile round trip on my bike each time. And then I went running last week and I was like, yeah, this feels pretty good. I'm just going to do it again this coming week. And so if I hit all my goals, and I don't see any reason why I wouldn't, that'd be 3 weeks straight of, getting out at least to do exercise at least 3 days a week. And, just get, when I'm not leaving the house, I'm out doing gardening and stuff, and just like doing something. And if not, maybe at least going for a walk or something, just like breaking it up. But yeah, I'd be lying if I said it was easy to avoid that feeling of fatigue when you have so short a period of time, where there's actual daylight. And then obviously getting around this time of year, it's not actually as rainy. I complain all the time because I've become British, but it doesn't really rain that much. That's more into December and January, but it's just solidly gray the whole day long. You come to realize why. We've made the joke that weather drove British colonialism, but also I feel like weather probably drove the British propensity for alcoholism and mental illness, because yeah, man, it's wild. I don't think they have as big of problems on like the Mediterranean coast in the south of France. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where it's warm and sunny and they have a beach and everything. Like even British beaches, I imagine, are just piles of rocks.
There are some that are quite nice in the south, like on the Essex coast and the South Coast and stuff like that. But yeah, by and large, they're like beaches in New England. You know what I mean? Like they're not like awful. It's not like beaches in Maine where it's just rocky, but it's not necessarily the kind of thing that's like really inviting. In the summertime, it gets hot and people do go to the beach for sure, but it's just not. It's obviously different when you're like, in the subtropics or in the tropics. You know what I mean?
It's I don't, because I don't live there. I do know that I'm not going to be able to do my yearly escape to Florida this year, which I'm upset about, because generally right around like early December or sometime in January, like either we do Florida or California to escape like just Missouri winter, which isn't bad, but my wife and I are just not winter people. Like, which is, I don't, 40 degrees is like my kryptonite. Like, if you go below that, I can deal with it. If you go above that, I can deal with it. But like that between that 40 to 30 degree range is just like, I'm miserable. And I don't know why. So, and that's where Missouri likes to hang out, like, winter wise, all of like December. So that's,
I won't recite the Stringer Bell 40-degree day speech from The Wire, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
it's just like you're like, all right, like I can't wear too much, but I have to wear something, and it's just the day you're gonna plow through. But what would keep me warm would be some coffee, and where you can get some coffee, literally anywhere. I mean, it's coffee, but I think it's a good time to segue into our topics here. My favorite one, a story from the Daily Beast. So if you're not aware, Kyle Rittenhouse, the young 17-year-old strapped up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, who shot 3 people, killing 2 of them, is out on $2 million bail. And the first picture of him snapped is at, I believe, a different, I think these other guys are podcasters as well. But he's wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company, and there's thumbs up, and he's got this stupid smile on his face, and they're saying that Kyle Rittenhouse drinks the best coffee in America at Black Rifle Coffee, and Black Rifle Coffee, kind of distanced themselves from it, as one would expect, and they just immediately got absolutely shit on. Now. This is very like this reminds me. Go back a couple of weeks and listen to us talk about the grunt style. The rise and fall of grunt style, and it's hard to say fall because they're still making money and they're still making stupid racism T-shirts. But like you can definitely tell that at a certain point in time, like Black Rifle Coffee at one point in time was just run by a bunch of shitheaded vets. And then, like, at some point in time, they brought somebody in to be like, hey, here's how you can, like, keep this going without being massive shitheads and not collapse your company. And, man, all it takes is just one thing. So let's go ahead and read through this from Kelly Wheel at the Daily Beast.
The headline of this piece is, "This gun coffee brand was MAGA royalty, then it turned on Kyle Rittenhouse." So, the far right thought it had found the ideal breakfast beverage company. Then it took a big sip of Black Rifle coffee and checked the news. For years, Black Rifle Coffee Company has been at the vanguard of an emerging conservative coffee movement. Customers can start their day with a Thin Blue Line Keurig cup or wind down with a nice mug of Combat Cocoa. This isn't coffee for wimps and civilians, the tactical branding implies. It's tactical caffeination for operators. I mean, I'm not really enthusiastically doing the Marine Todd voice here, but yeah, 100%. This is, as an aside, their coffee, as I understand it, is basically drop ship coffee. It's terrible.
It's fine. Like, I had a supply sergeant I noticed that she had it in her office, and I was like, oh, how is that? And she's like, oh, you can have some. And I tried it, and I don't remember which one it was. It was just, coffee, Black Rifle coffee, the generic whatever. And I tried it, and I was like, all right, it's like slightly better than Folgers, but like not as good. Like I spend a little extra money and buy, fancy coffee from local guys here that like roast in St. Louis, and they get their coffee from all over the world, and like, I talk to them. I talk to the guys who make it. So, like I'm a bit of a coffee snob, so I get it. The supply sergeant was like, "Oh, it's the best coffee around." She's real into being a troop though, so I don't know. She maybe it's a little different for her, but like I said, I have fancy coffee taste, so maybe it's a little different for me. But also, it was perfectly it was fine coffee. Like I've been in the Army for a long time. I've been, I went to multiple deployments, places all over the place. I understand the necessity of, at least a coffee maker and a big, thing of Folgers, which is perfectly fine. So it's coffee wise, it's fine. It's fine. You're not buying good coffee. You're buying the brand. You're buying the cool gun on a bag or a Thin Blue Line thing. That's all. That's what you're really purchasing. You're purchasing a commercial that has a girl in a bikini shooting a machine gun. Like if that's what you're into, fine. But also don't sit here and try and tell me that it's anything other than, like you said, it's basically like a drop ship coffee. It's put into operator bags and shipped out, and I don't know, maybe they do something nice for veterans. I'm sure they have something, but for the most part, you're buying into a brand. And if you're not, if you're wondering like why have I heard Black Rifle Coffee? Why do people make fun of it? Back in 2017, and I think that goes into it in this article. But back in 2017, Starbucks made a proclamation about wanting to hire 10,000 refugees and immigrants because they have good. They have good Starbucks for as much as everybody makes fun of it. Starbucks has decent wages and benefits and things like that. So Black Rifle Coffee was like, well, we're going to hire 10,000 veterans, and they Photoshop pictures of like Starbucks cups in the hands of ISIS and shit. Which is like when I said like at some point in time somebody came in and was just like, you have got to stop doing that stupid shit if you want to continue on with this. I think they stopped doing that stupid shit, and they're just like, Black Rifle Coffee. We have rifle coffee, and we love the troops and the cops. Like, they kind of went generic with it. They're just like, yeah, we love the troops. Everybody loves the troops. We love the cops. Everybody loves the cops. We're your coffee people, and we're not going to do that ridiculousness anymore.
Yeah, so I'll continue on the piece. But not even that branding has been enough to save Black Rifle Coffee Company from attacks by its far-right former fans who accused the company of being inadequately militant because it declined to sponsor a teenager accused of murdering Black Lives Matter protesters. BRCC's trouble began shortly after accused murderer Kyle Rittenhouse was bailed out of jail last week. Rittenhouse is accused of shooting 3 people, 2 of them fatally, at a Black Lives Matter protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin earlier this year. Rittenhouse, 17, became a hero of the militant far right, especially of groups like the Proud Boys that openly lust for violence against the left. Shortly after supporters posted Rittenhouse's $2 million bail, the host of a conservative podcast that partners with BRCC tweeted a picture of Rittenhouse in a BRCC shirt. This picture, plus its caption, "Kyle Rittenhouse drinks the best coffee in America," led viewers to believe BRCC was partnering with Rittenhouse. That wasn't the case, BRCC clarified this weekend. In a video, the company's CEO, Evan Haffer, stated that BRCC had not and would not sponsor Rittenhouse. "We're not in the business of profiting from tragedy," the CEO of the gun-themed coffee company said. "We're not in the business
writing on this, by the way,
of profiting from this event. We have zero interest in collecting $1 from any of this. It is ethically inappropriate for us to do so or even give the perception of profiting."
See, this is like I said. Somebody, some PAO, some me came in here, saw that tweet, and was just like, "You need to distance yourself from this right now." And I don't know if that was the right answer or not, considering like most of us think Black Rifle Coffee is a bunch of dipshits anyway. Like I'm sure they're doing fine on their own. They have like brick and mortar stores. They have actual like places you can go and get their garbage ass coffee. So maybe they're doing maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe they should have leaned into it. But this honestly this sounds very boilerplate, and I'm a little like I'm a little surprised. Black Rifle Coffee was just like, yeah, we don't want any part of this. We don't want to be a part of this. Like, look, that's not us. All right, we don't want our shit on a guy who on video gunned down 3 people at a protest. It makes sense. And as we continue on here in this story, you're going to really see like the irony of any conservative calling anybody else a snowflake.
Yeah, so the story continues. That would be an uncontroversial statement from virtually any other CEO, but not, apparently, from a leader in the world of conservative coffee. Haffer's statement prompted a hyper-caffeinated meltdown from portions of the right, which castigated BRCC as traitors. They have embedded a tweet in which Cernovich, Nick Fuentes, Ian Miles Chong, Cassandra Fairbanks, they're all complaining about Black Rifle Coffee Company. Far-right internet personalities like blogger Cassandra Fairbanks formally disavowed BRCC, in doing so taking a break from accusing the left of being censorious. Others accused BRCC of just exploiting the right for profit. Quote,
yes,
civilians are just...
Of course, you dumb pieces of shit.
The fuck's wrong with you? Yeah. Civilians are just cash cows to you, so you and your veteran buddies can get rich, one prominent white supremacist account railed at Haffer. The Proud Boys, a far-right paramilitary group that has championed Rittenhouse, accused BRCC of trying to market to, quote, genderless college students, unquote, and photoshopped the BRCC logo to look like it supported Black Lives Matter, which, in Proud Boys parlance, is intended as an insult.
Like if I'm sorry, and Ian Miles Chung is the one who posted the picture of the Black Lives Matter Black Rifle Coffee Company, and I got to say it slaps, and I would probably buy that. So maybe
I also want to pause because here's something. Let me get to the end of this, and then I want to read some stuff that gives you a little more perspective. Because in fairness, while Kelly Wheel has gotten some screenshots here, those were verified conservative accounts. Let me read a couple of the things that they have on Parler, and then I'll show you some stuff that friend of the show, partner of the show, Joe Kasabian found.
Oh, Liberty Hangout has one too, which is pretty good.
Oh, great.
Go ahead.
On Parler, a social media platform popular among the far right, supposed ex-BRCC fans flooded the company's page with insults. Boycott these liberals and every brand associated with them, commented a user whose profile picture was Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg photoshopped to look like a Nazi. Turns out BRCC is deep state. Cry laugh emojis. Another former fan wrote on BRCC's Parler page. Of course they have a fucking Parler page.
Of course they did, and that's the thing is that like that Black Rifle Coffee Company there was absolutely no correct answer that they could have done. They're just gonna have to tweet through this one because like y'all went there, y'all went where they were, and I don't know. You lay down and what is it? You lay down with
lie down with dogs. You wake up with fleas.
Yeah.
My husband is pissed. He said his election was stolen away by Democrats and then his coffee. And just like that, you have to change your name to LGBTQ Snowflake Coffee, a third wrote. Never will drink your coffee. Parler users became so incensed, they started searching the Federal Election Commission's site for Haffer's political contributions, which revealed that he'd donated $500 to Representative Tulsi Gabbard, a Hawaii Democrat. Gabbard, who has served in the military like Haffer, saw some support from a fringe of far-right personalities during her 2020 presidential campaign. I'm going to pause for a second. So, yes, Cassandra Fairbanks, Mike Cernovich, Ian Miles Chong, Nick Fuentes, the sort of professional skirt the line, if you will, to like ride the tiger, right-wing, insane online personalities, which, I mean, they're Islamophobic and homophobic and transphobic, like everything you can possibly think of, but they're not quite all out in terms of they love to say the left are the true racists, so they can't really be full on slurs racism. I'm gonna read some of the comments that Joe found. A guy says, quoting Black Rifle, "Impressive dick step again. Jesus, just shut your fucking mouth. You'll appease no one. You're pissing off everyone. Impressive, actually. Hit up SMC Roasters for a company that actually takes a stance." Okay. Next one. "You're a pussy tucking your shit. Just grab SMC Roasters pocket because you are the bottom bitch." Okay. This one from @Hellbilly88.
Oh, I wonder what happened to his other 87 accounts.
His display name is Hellbilly14. "Fuck you, Jew. You grifted MAGA boomers for 4 years on your Second Amendment stance. Now you coward Jew fucks disavow a kid who was a political prisoner who clearly shot in self-defense. I hope your company gets skull fucked by anyone who is true #Second Amendment."
I don't remember skull fucking being part of the Second Amendment.
Yeah, me neither. Finally, from Samuel Smith @SSmith1776. "Fuck you and your nasty burnt as fuck coffee." I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
"I hope you were surrounded by a horde of violent Antifa criminals like Kyle was with no rifle to defend yourself, you piece of shit."
So, what would we do? Fucking chant at them? Like
exactly, right, exactly.
Here's Liberty Hangout. Liberty Hangout, if you're not aware, the monarchist, Holocaust denying, I guess the constitutional monarch. I don't know. They're insane. Gun Girl is associated with them. It's pretty ironic that Black Rifle Coffee is disavowing Kyle Rittenhouse when they're run by people who have killed other human beings. No point standing alongside a company that only pretends to care about your rights so they can get rich, which is quite a take. To just be like, look, those guys. Well, why wouldn't you support other people shooting people at point blank range? Sure. And also,
well, that's the thing,
Black
right?
Rifle
Is that Liberty
Coffee, I was going to say their follow up was that Black Rifle Coffee made $8 million last year alone off suckers that think they're a right wing company. That's a lot of money that can go elsewhere.
I mean, it makes me laugh because, as I understand it, Liberty Hangout are like ANCAP, sort of.
Yeah, they are.
But they also hire what's her name, Caitlin Bennett to like do their video things. It's a bit there. To me, it strikes me that like wherever there is a controversy that allows right-wing people to feel as though they are aggrieved and powerless, like flies to shit, Liberty Hangout will show up. Also, can we just comment for a second that Liberty Hangout's logo is some of the worst design I've ever seen? It genuinely reminds me of like the weird fever dream like talk show that Sideshow Bob does in The Simpsons called Choices. Like it's so bad. And I know that's a niche Simpsons reference, but if you know it, you absolutely know it. So I'm going to continue reading the story.
The accusations were a stunning reversal in fortune for BRCC, which, for years, has positioned itself as the go-to coffee for conservative gun fans. I want people who voted for Trump to know that there's another option for you, Haffer said in a 2017 interview. Starbucks' Howard Schultz doesn't want your business. I do. I'll be proud to take it. When Starbucks announced a plan to hire 10,000 refugees in 2017, BRCC shared a meme that photoshopped Starbucks cups onto ISIS fighters. Starbucks vows to hire 10,000 refugees, the meme read, followed by a picture of U.S. troops with the caption, Black Rifle Coffee Company vows to hire 10,000 veterans. BRCC might have been the most popular conservative-aligned coffee brand, but it wasn't the only run. Other right-wing coffee companies, including those with similarly military branding, launched around the same time, many of them in response to the perceived liberalism of brands like Starbucks. At least 2 conservative coffee shops opened this February alone. One, Kofifi Coffee and Gifts in Maine, sells brews named after Trump. The other, Conservative Grounds in Florida, includes a makeshift Oval Office with cardboard cutouts of Donald and Melania Trump. Conservative Grounds owner told the Washington Post the shop was a place for conservatives to feel welcome and noted that the store had a sign leading out to the dumpsters with the label, Liberal Safe Space, Enter Here.
Like, I don't understand anybody who's going to accuse Black Rifle Coffee Company of grifting conservatives when everything that a conservative does at this point just seems like grifting other conservatives.
Yeah, I'm going to finish the article because there's only 2 graphs left, and then I have a couple of comments. A third right-wing coffee brand is now gunning for BRCC's customers, promoting stickers that advocate throwing communists to their deaths from helicopters and patches mocking the corpse of a man Rittenhouse killed. The brand earned an endorsement from the Proud Boys after it released a statement lauding Rittenhouse on Sunday. When a Twitter user accused the company of revealing fascist views, the brand account replied, "We were never in hiding, sweet cheeks." Now, a couple of things. Like you said, I don't know if you recall years ago, but there was a photo, and this kind of derangement strikes me as like first Obama term derangement, where a guy was so mad about Obama that he had decorated his house with Christmas decorations. And what he had done is he had put like a light up Santa on the roof and had used white Christmas lights to make it seem like a stream of urine. So Santa was peeing on the ground, and on the ground in Christmas lights was spelled out Obama. That's kind of, to me, like the aesthetic that a lot of these conservative brands are on. Like, it can't just be one sort of conservative identity signifier. It's got to be all of them. Like the dumpster for the libs for that one, and so on and so forth. Like, these things are always over the top because that's the only way that you sort of differentiate. The only way you sort of differentiate yourself is by being as aggressively labeled, if you will, as like a Ben Garrison cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that made me laugh too was thinking about the Black Rifle. Remember when they did an AMA or Ask Me Anything on Reddit?
Yeah.
And there was something that made me laugh really hard because I remember correctly that they got really absolutely fucking devastated in their replies. And one of the things that surprised me about it, I suppose, was like a lot of the shit they were getting, like a lot of the anger they were getting was from other veterans. And I'm trying to find it because I know I've got it here, but there was a what's it called? I had a tweet about it, or I want to say it might have been from Joe, where basically they got called out, and in one of the top like upvoted posts on their AMA, one of them was it was basically a guy saying like, listen, Starbucks actually hires a ton of veterans. Like they're one of the best veteran hiring companies in the US. Like they've made it a point to do tons of outreach. They've made it a point to hit their targets every year in a row. And quite frankly, you guys, I'm also a vet. I've also done deployments. I also was special operations. You guys are really into saying this, but don't you have something like 60 people working at your company? How in the fuck are you going to hire 10,000 of them? You would have to open 600 stores in the next year to do that. Like you're just not going to do like anybody who knows anything about business at all knows this will not happen. Like, so is your whole point is basically like, we love vets so much, we're just going to lie our asses off and make up some bullshit that anyone with a brain knows is impossible because we also hate refugees. And it's like, it's weird to me that they have decided to professionalize their shtick by saying, okay, no, we don't support Kyle Rittenhouse. When it's like, yo, this is what you guys want. This is who you are.
Yeah.
Like,
just lean into it. Like
everything about your brand is celebrating the murder of people you don't like. So why have you chosen to draw the line here?
Like, and I get it. Like, I'm sure that there are, even if they had just been like, yeah, we love Kyle, we're sending him all the shitty coffee in the world, that there would have been a lot of people who would have been pissed off about that. But I don't know. Like, you're not winning me over, And this is the same CEO. This is who 3 years ago was making ISIS drinks coffee jokes. Being incredibly insensitive and a little bit racist as any of these coffee or as any conservative company truly is, and now wants to play this high and mighty role of like, oh, we don't want to profit off of tragedy. Like literally, that's all you've done. The fucking war in Afghanistan and Iraq is a goddamn tragedy that you're profiting off of in one way or another. Like, yeah, you're not a government contractor there sucking up pellets full of money, but in some way you've turned it into an identity politic kind of thing to make money, which like, again, is fine. What is this podcast other than me and Nate, doing therapy and talking about being troops, and making a little bit of money on the side doing it. At the same time, though, we're not shitheads about it. Like we'll never, I don't know. People would be offended by our stuff, but that's because those people are offensive in general. Like, not a day goes by that I don't see Nate yelling at somebody who's against the trans community, which good. Like, fuck, if you're a TERF, go fuck yourself. That's just who we are. So I don't know. Black Rifle Coffee was never going to win me over. I was never going to be like, that's it, now I can go buy Black Rifle Coffee, because one, again, I have a coffee that I like, that I get locally, and two, they lost me years ago. I don't really think there was a winning way that they could have done this. I think that, personally, if I was Black Rifle Coffee, I would be really pissed off at that podcast for putting me in that fucking situation, without asking and without, doing any kind of like, hey, we're going to do this. Is that going to be okay? Which is a very conservative kind of like, oh, we're just going to do it and assume that this is going to be okay because I feel like I know who you are. But like, Nate, I don't make major decisions about our tiny little podcast without talking to you about them, because that would be unfair. Like it's not a fair thing to put somebody else on the spot when you're going to make any kind of move politically. So if it's just a big bag of shit that they're holding, and to be honest, I got no sympathies for them. I got no sympathies for them. I got no sympathies for the grunt style people. I have sympathy for people who are hoodwinked by them, but again, as we said in the grunt style thing, you lay down with dogs, you're gonna wake up with fleas. Like they were always very upfront of who they were, and people were attracted to that, whether financially to give them money or to go work for them. And we saw that in grunt style, and I wouldn't be surprised if in a year or so we end up seeing a long 5,000 words written about the rise and fall of Black Rifle Coffee and how they managed to just completely step on their dicks like this, because these things aren't sustainable. I feel like these companies is like the safe spaces out here by the dumpsters. How long is that store going to really last? Does that last another 2 years? Or do they end up breaking it all down and liquidating things in and make a little bit of money, but like there's no longevity there because it's inherently reactionary.
The thing that gets me is really that this stuff, for one, there's 2 points I would address. I agree with you that this is effectively, in nerd terms, if you will, a kind of aestheticization of violence. They're taking all of the sort of military symbolism and operator symbolism and kind of tapping into a Bush era sort of the troops are being disrespected somewhere and somehow. And this is 65% of Americans disrespect the troops. This is a coffee for the 35% or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's playing into a certain kind of grievance. And whether or not it's, explicitly marketed as reactive to some perceived slight, the undertone throughout is basically, I shoot people in the face, fuck you. By the way, here's a coffee for people who also shoot people in the face, fuck you. Even though, let's be perfectly honest, something like 1% of people who are actually in the military are actually doing ops, whether that's conventional or special operations. And only about 1% of Americans serve in the military, and that's across the spectrum of all branches of service, reserve component and active component. So the overwhelming majority of people who are in the military are not buying this dumb bullshit. The overwhelming majority of people in the military are combat support and service support, and this is a very rarefied thing. The target market here is not the troops. It's taking an aestheticization of how conservatives view combat arms troops and selling it to your Meemaw.
Well, like I said, my supply sergeant is really into Black Rifle Coffee. She's a supply sergeant, very good supply sergeant. She's very good at her job. She helps, and she'll bend over backwards to make sure that you get what you need. But she's not an operator. And Nate, I'm a gun person. I own multiple guns. I like shooting guns. I like owning guns. But as soon as somebody's just like, like you like guns, do you want to buy products that are based around owning guns? Like, no, I just own guns. Like, I just have them. I enjoy them. I have a shotgun. I like to shoot little clay pigeons when they go flying around. I don't need to make it part of like my identity. And that's, I think, what really turns me off about it is that when I watch commercials where it's just like, yeah, we're just going to go out, we're going to shoot in the desert, and we're going to, have hot girls in bikinis, and we're going to have a machine gun. Like, all that does is that makes me embarrassed to be a gun owner, because I feel like people look at that and then they look at me and they're like, you own a shotgun and a Glock and a couple of 22 rifles. It's like that, but that's not me. What they're doing is not me. I like to go put little holes in pieces of paper. I have a little Glock because I live in, not the greatest of neighborhoods, and I have been mugged before. And I have these things they are tools. They are not part of who I have to be, and that's what really pisses me off, I think, about any of these places, anything that trades in on Second Amendment stuff. And it's like, you're just using this to bolster your identity, and I'm just not into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I cycle a lot. I'm a cycle commuter. I really like cycling. I buy specialty cycling gear, but I'm not going to buy brand signifier things for being a cyclist. Like I just bought a helmet today, actually. I'm finally replacing my old helmet that I've had for 6 years that's survived at least one actual serious crash. It's for safety reasons. I should have replaced it a long time ago, but at least I'm replacing it now. But I would feel weird even throwing joke stickers on my cycle helmet because, like, I'm just not one of these people that goes around proclaiming identity stuff. Like, I talk about it in my own life, but for the same reason that I wouldn't wear a Afghanistan veteran hat, which would be particularly absurd here in a foreign country. I wouldn't do that either. And so that stuff, I think in general, like maybe I have like small c conservative tendencies in that regard, that I'm not really a person who wants to broadcast my interests or my sort of political positions that way via, things on the stuff I own. But that's just me. Like, I mean, whatever, you can do what you want. I don't really care. But I've always been very concerned, unnerved, if you will, by the stuff that I've seen from Black Rifle, because it really is kind of, it goes from being like troop coffee to kill the libs coffee. And right at the moment of them having to make the decision as to whether or not they were kill the libs coffee, they decided that they wanted to be respectable. And their fan base is freaking out because their fan base was they were picking up what they were putting down the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And now they want to act all po-faced and ashamed about like, oh, we never wanted to make people think we like violence. It's like, man, shut the fuck up. Look at all the shit you've put out there for the last 5 years. Look at all this shit. Don't fucking play innocent with me. Don't pretend you didn't know what you were saying. Come on. Be a grown-up. Own your shit. Own your horrible dog shit. But they can't do it because that's the thing, right? Because it is a grift. Because it is a grift. It is absolutely, because they know, they can tell that conservatives love this Santa pissing on Obama shit. They absolutely will spend money specifically to feel as though they are owning the libs, even if they're getting a subpar product. Because I hold that you could probably buy, and I haven't looked at the prices on Big Racist Coffee Company, but like I would hold that you could probably get better quality coffee for the same price. I mean, fuck, man. If you want discount coffee, like, go to coffeefool.com. It's like a not particularly sexy branded coffee in America that sells really good stuff for not very much. And like, they even have what they call the foulash goulash, which is like a mixture of leftover blends you can get for super cheap. Like, and their, direct mail coffee, etc., like way better quality even than like the gourmet shit. Like, honestly, you can get great coffee for cheap in America.
Oh God.
You want a premium coffee, a legit premium coffee? Kau Coffee Mill, KAU Coffee Mill. It's a coffee farm in Kau District on the island of Hawaii. I've been to the farm. I've bought from them. Every now and then I'll buy a big ass bag and have it either shipped to my parents or even shipped here, because you can do that. Like, amazing coffee. You're supporting the only place in America where coffee is domestically grown and produced. And you know what? They're not into culture war shit. They're not into owning the libs. They just make coffee in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
They just provide jobs and income and fucking tax revenue in the poorest district, or correction, the poorest county of the state of Hawaii, which is a fantastically unequal state. So, like, why would you spend your money? That's the thing, right? Why would you spend your money on this shit? But that's the thing. Don't pretend you didn't know.
I was going to say, I looked it up and I had forgot about it. One, their regular bags of 12-ounce coffee cost about $14, $15 a bag, which that's, I don't know, I pay that for what I get. I buy in bulk though, so like I get 3 bags at a time, so I pay. Where I go is Coffee Stamp, if anybody is wondering that. They do coffee from all over the world. But I forgot that Black Rifle Coffee has the SS coffee.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, they have. So if you look at it, if you go to their collections 12-ounce bags, they've got like AK Express, BB Beyond Black, JB Just Black, and SS, which is silencer smooth, but also it just does say SS on it, in really big letters.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I remember that being the thing. Oh God, they've got, this is it's just all like looking at it. Oh, they've got Blackbeard's Delight, Freedom Fuel. Jesus Christ! Like, yeah, coffee or die. You might as well just leave it. MO for Murdered Out. Blue Line Coffee. Fit Fuel. They have one that has a kettlebell on it, so it's the coffee you drink before you lift, I guess.
And
GS
take a
for
huge shit.
Yeah, GS for Gunsmith. They have Vintage Roast, organic coffee. It's just, and that's.
I'm looking on coffeefool.com right now because they're very cheap, and their House American blend is $11.95 for a 12-ounce bag. Their House French is $11.45 for a 12-ounce bag. I mean, watch me wind up getting egg on my face when it turns out that these people are also right-wing chuds. But I mean, like, from what I can tell, it's not. The foulash goulash, the mixed up one I was talking about, is like the leftovers, whatever, is $10.95 for 12 ounces. Like,
the Coffee Stamp guys are maybe they're insane right wingers, but every time I met them at farmers markets. They are both, I believe, South American, and they wear what are those? It's kind of like a poncho, kind of like a serape, where it's very colorful and everything. They have long hair and beards. Like they're very. When I look at them, I don't think, oh, this guy loves Donald Trump. So Coffee Stamp, so far visually at least seems a little bit less insane.
Yeah, man. I mean, I couldn't tell you, but I guess the other point I wanted to make is specifically looking at the commentary that people have put forth about Evan Haffer. I'm going to assume with a name like Evan Haffer that he is actually probably Jewish. And it's like, look, man, flat out, I'm not telling you anything that you probably don't already know, even if you're in denial of it. But this is what those people think of you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what those people think of us. When you cross the line, you are no longer a dissenting conservative. You are just a Jew doing Jewish conspiracies. All right? That's what they think about us. Like, lie down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. Lie down with Nazis, wind up in a fucking death camp. Like, bro, this is 100% who these people are. They are not subtle about it. They are being honest. The only reason why they're not doing more acts of violence like Tree of Life is because they're fucking lazy. They're incredibly whiny and they're incredibly lazy. But as you get a super motivated 17-year-old to go out and shoot people protesting against fucking police brutality, they will support it with their wallets because they're fucking lazy. 100%, this is who those people are. Like, be honest with yourself.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Proud Boys who would say, we're not a racist organization. As you can see, our leader is I think a Hispanic.
Is black. No, he's black.
He's black. Yeah, he's black.
And then they recently melted down about how, like, actually we're Nazis. Fuck all this token shit.
Right.
Like,
fuck that guy. Fuck all of these people who are not. And this thing's like, oh, well, they're not racist. They're not Nazis. Look, they have some Asian people. They have Hispanic people. They have black people. It's like, and I just want to go to them and just be like, you guys understand you're going to be purged, like, as soon as you're no longer useful to these people, right? And it happened. Of course it happened. Like, they didn't get, like, shot or anything, but they get kicked out. And, like, I honestly believe that there is something to some conservative politics. It's just that conservatives are all absolutely fucking insane. And rather than say, hey, maybe we should try to do, like, fiscal responsibility or something, and maybe we should try to do something that brings up everybody while saving a couple of bucks. And what it always turns into is just the Jews run everything. And
yeah, I mean, like, I'm one of these people that basically is like, I think that I don't think that movement conservatism in America is useful. I think that if you look at blue states in America, you can see that one party rule can be a problem, especially when it's corporate Democrats. I take the position of the former communist mayor of Bologna in the 70s, a guy named Renato Zangari, who basically said that it is not in the interest of, communists or socialists or Christian Democrats or anyone in political society, speaking about Italy, to demand that every ice cream vendor on the street be nationalized. Like, there's an extent to which what I'm looking for is not necessarily state ownership of literally everything, but the decommodification of the necessities of life, be that housing, food, employment, transportation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking for scarcity to be eliminated because we can if we want to. And I'm not trying to shoot you down. I'm just what I'm saying though is to me though, I'm open to people's criticisms, and I'm even open to criticisms from people who would be to the right of me if those criticisms are based on something that is real. And that's the thing they can never do, because when you're so mad that you want to make Santa Claus piss on Obama, you can't really formulate a valid critique because you're so goddamn mad, and that madness clouds your perceptions of reality. Like, being an American conservative in the sort of the construction of that term in 2020 it's like being a billionaire in a way. Reality bends before you, and no one responds to you. No one on your side responds to you with any degree of honesty. They're just telling you what they know you want to hear. And the issue there is, if you're a billionaire, it's because people want to get money from you. If you're a conservative, it's because people want to get money from you. Like, as I've said before to fellow veterans, debathify your own brain. As I'm saying to conservatives, like, be honest with yourself. Be fucking honest with yourself. Like, this isn't a political movement to reconstruct American society. This is just people trying to make money off you because they think you'll pay extra for lesser quality shit if you think it'll own the libs. And that's it.
Yeah. Just looking at Black Rifle Coffee, their bags, they have some bags that are about like, $12.99, and then you get the fancy bag that's like the Freedom Roast, and it's like, this is $14.99. It's like, depreciably, there's no difference other than it's a fancy bag. And I get, as somebody who sells things online and understands marketing, I get it. But also at the same time, like to look at these things, like, and to look at something like that, to see a $2 difference for a nicer bag, and for it to not click in your brain, oh, this is a gimmick. And whether you want to buy into the gimmick or not is fine, but just understand that it's a gimmick, and that's just not there. And that's where you get exactly what you're talking about. You get these people who it turns into this weird lifestyle brand. And it's easier to just buy coffee to own the libs than it is to actually go out and own the libs. So, thumbs up for that, I suppose, but also it just makes America more racist. But, buy what you want. Feel free to shop our store. We will never be racist in some. Well, I mean, we will never be racist. Period. That's just not who we are. But also, we won't be racist gunfuckers to sell you something. We'll just be lefty socialists, gunfuckers who have things for sale if you'd like. But if not, understood. I understand. I don't know. It's all grifting all the way down, man. So for the bonus this week, I did an interview with Brian Quinby from Street Fight Radio. Brian came on to mostly talk about Rambo and action movies, but it just kind of devolved into dad chat, and had a good time. It's been a while since I've talked with Brian. He's a lot of fun. If you're not listening to Street Fight Radio, definitely give them a listen. Brian is pretty much who I modeled my podcast after. I saw Brian and Brett doing it and having a lot of fun, and I decided to do that as well with Nate, and now we have a lot of fun doing it, so please enjoy.
I gotta ask you, are knives like a big part of military training? Do y'all like learn to like you throw knives and like do tricks with knives?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
We did a bayonet charge in basic training, and then I never saw another bayonet in my life in the Army, except for like from the weird guys who just like really like to, like, I'm going to carry everything. I'm going to carry the bayonet, but the bayonet, like all together, like the bayonet and the scabbard or whatever it's in is like 2 pounds, and people are like, that's 2 pounds I don't have to carry. I'm not taking that. So you do the bayonet. They teach you, they spend like the morning teaching you about bayonets, and then they're like, all right, you're never gonna use a bayonet. Like bayonets have not been useful since like before the Civil War. Like bayonets didn't even kill a lot of people in the Civil War, which is the one we always think about with bayonets. So
yeah.
But we don't do that. We don't do that Spetsnaz thing. No, the only axe throwing I do is at trendy bars now.
Are there weirdos that like get real good? I'm sure there are weirdos in the military that get real good at knives, though. Like I'm sure that's a type of guy.
Yeah, usually your general type of guy in the Army, when they're bored, they just lift weights. The other one is the guy who drinks, and then the third one is the guy who plays video games. But yeah, sometimes you'll get the like the knife dude or the I mean, I've seen a lot of anime in some soldiers rooms before too. So everybody, I've met one person who is really into knives, but like I guess most of them are really into guns too.
That's true. I'm trying to get into knives. Like I asked for knives for Christmas.
I'm gonna get you. I'll get you some of the like order on Wish and just like have some Wish knives sent to you. Those are the best because they've got that iridescent metal and they will absolutely like fall apart and not be sharp after about 5 throws.
Yeah, I think like I don't know if I'm gonna get throwing knives because that seems crazy to me. To like, I would have to set up the piece of wood outside to throw them at, and I know I just wouldn't use them. But I'm not allowed to have a gun. I know. And but I do want a knife. I'm like, well, if I can't have a gun, you might as well let me have a knife. At least it'll give me some kind of a chance.
Just get a sword. Be a sword guy.
No,
What?
I can't. I don't want people to. I'd be so embarrassed if people came in my house and I had a sword sitting out.
We should normalize that, though. You know, it's normal, like, for someone to be like, "Oh, I have a gun or a shotgun that I have quick access to." It's like, yeah, I have a sword though. It's like, what are you gonna do with that? Like, well, not shoot somebody. I'm just gonna poke them a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, you would have to learn how to sword fight, but I guess you got to learn how to shoot a gun too,
Yeah,
the right way. I mean, not necessarily, but it helps.
You know, I mean, I'm a gun guy, but I don't have like I don't have like a gun stashed underneath my bed or something for intruders. If there's an intruder, I have a dog and I have one of those big that flashlight that you could like beat somebody with that takes like a bunch of D-cell batteries.
The
so I got one of
mag light.
those.
I love that fucking thing. I
Yeah,
love
so
the mag light.
Yeah, so I got a dog and a mag light. Like a gun is just like you shoot it and then you don't know where the fuck that bullet's going.
That is
So I don't fuck
true.
around
That
with
is
that.
true. My father-in-law is always showing me his gun. Every time I go over there, he shows it to me like it's the first time he's ever shown me the gun. And he's like, he's trying to give me like advice on like what kind of gun to buy and
Does
how,
he only
how
have
to get trained.
Does he only have one gun?
Yeah, he has
Just
one gun.
That is such a weird type of guy. Like that's like the guy that's just like, let me show off. Like if somebody's like, oh, Francis, you like guns, let me show off my guns to you. I expect there to be like a bunch of them to look at that we can kind of
Yeah.
talk about, but like this is just like, here it is, my one gun. I just keep it
he's
here.
so proud of it though. He like pulls it out and he takes the clip out and then puts the clip back in front of me. And he's like, and then you got one here in the chamber. I'm like, I've seen guns before. Like it's not like a new thing, But he's proud of it. It makes him happy to show me. So
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's not shooting anybody accidentally, then whatever, that's fine, I guess.
yeah, let him take the clip out so he can feel like a guy in a movie. You know, how the like
It does.
cops in a movie will check the clip and then put it back in.
It does feel cool to do that. I'm not gonna lie. One of the best feelings is putting the clip in and then just like when you click and it just snaps in. Oh, that's a feeling. That's a feeling right there.
That seemed cool. It seems
Mhm.
cool to me.
It makes cool gun noises. That's the best part. That's why everybody likes pump action shotguns, because they like gun noises.
Yeah. Guns in movies make so much noise. Like
So
it's
much.
just
Oh
like
my
as
God.
you hand one over, it's like click, 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 and you're like, wow. Is that thing falling apart?
It's like you're handing over a transformer that's halfway in between like being a truck and being a transformer. I just make
Yes.
my favorite is there was one where the guy had a gun pointed in the face and is like, I don't know, whatever, going back and forth, and then there's the pull of the hammer back, the thumb pull the hammer back, but then also the reach up and then having to do the slide back, and it's like, what are you doing with this gun, man? Where do you have bullets? Do you know what a bullet is? What's going on here? Like, so
I think actors sometimes just like don't really understand the mechanics of guns.
yeah, I need fucking an actor will go and be like, I need to, play a butler, so I'm going to go be a butler for like 7 years, so I can really do this part. Like I'm Daniel Day fucking Lewis, but they won't pick up a gun and figure out how a gun works. But they'll
John Krasinski will.
Yeah.
He went to basic. They always say he went to like boot camp or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like not
No,
real
he
boot
didn't.
camp.
he does way too many cool things with a gun than the boot camp that I went to. They're just like, you did it, you shot the things, now give us the gun back and put it away.
Right. He went with some special forces person
Uh-huh.
who just told him all the coolest parts
Right.
of being in the military.
Right, like all the when you do and then you switch and then you do the snap up and then you do the thing and then you're shooting and then you're shooting and then you do the roll. It's like nobody does that. What we do is we call in the A-10 to fucking strafe the thing and then we walk in.
Yeah.
John Krasinski
Like-
should have gotten a radio to call in air support.
Yeah, that show sucks, by the way. I watched the whole thing. and I will watch the next season, the Jack Ryan
Yeah. They bad?
TV show. Yeah, they're pretty fucking bad. They're like also propaganda, like heavy propaganda.
Yeah.
But I think all Jack Ryan stuff is heavy propaganda. I mean, that's just part of the game with Jack Ryan.
It's very pro America. We love America, we love the CIA, and we hate the terrorists. And the CIA is good, and the FBI is good, and the terrorists are bad. And there's nothing to think about in between those things.
We love the system. The system works perfectly. That's what those Jack Ryan movies are. It's like, yeah, there's a few bad apples that are politicians, but in the end, they get their day in court and we get justice on them. I'm like, we never get justice on anybody.
That's just like the West Wing for like gun guys. Basically, it's the you want to feel like the gun is the people in the gun are doing all the right things, and a person in a gun would never do a wrong thing. And this is what it is. This is the West Wing. This is some Sorkin
also
shit.
That which might be somewhat true, but that like a lot of crimes in the military are solved by going through invoices.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. There's always a paper trail. Like the military is very big on having a piece of paper. And if you don't have everything that's on the piece of paper, then you owe the government. Like I'm waiting. The army right now is in a weird state of flux. So like I turned all my gear back in, and there were like some things that I didn't have, like a couple, and like altogether, if I had to get, there's probably like maybe about $150 worth of stuff. But like if it's done correctly, they will create a financial liability thing for me, and I would have to pay the army. I would have to pay the government for the bits of uniform or whatever that I don't give back to them.
You're gonna return your uniform?
Well, the uniform, technically yes, but the uniform for whatever I shouldn't have to. But all the other parts, like the helmet and like the sleeping bag, they give you all the canteens and shit, all the magazine pouches, stuff like that. They give you a whole bunch of stuff that's not just all the goofy shit you wear when you actually go to war. All that stuff that's issued to you and they write it down on a piece of paper, and then they demand all of it back. All right, and keep in mind, you can follow us. You can follow me at Army Strength, follow Nate at In These Deserts, follow the podcast at Hell of a Way. We have the shop at hellofawaytodie.com. You can sign up for our newsletters, listen to episodes. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere that we can get into your ears and worm our ways into your brains. We will do it. If we need to send a Sherpa with a thumb drive of episodes to you, we will figure out a way. So other than that, thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Zoom, zoom.